Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen where, as you can see, there's obviously a lot going on. We are, two Thursdays away from Thanksgiving, and me being the traditionalist that I am, I'd like to continue on some holiday classics, some traditional dishes that go fabulous for a family gathering or gathering with friends or just your immediate family for a day such as Thanksgiving. Last week, we did the stuffing for the turkey, the stuffing, dressing, however you want to call it, with Italian sage sausage inside. Really fabulous. Came out beautiful. So if you have not seen that video, check out last week's video on how to make stuffing. This week, we're going to do two things. So we kind of have a lot going on. I've already got things moving, things going. We are going to make some green bean casserole and look at these little guys. Fresh cranberries. We are going to make homemade cranberry sauce. Everything we're doing is from scratch. Not doing anything out of a can, not doing anything pre-made. We're doing it all ourselves right here. All I've done is go ahead and cut things up and get things portioned and put together. And that's all. I'm going to do everything with you all. So I'd like to get started because we've got a lot of moving parts. So come over here, check this out. What I want you to see ahead of time, you see these? This mound of mush. These are the fried onions. You know how when you have green bean casserole, you always put the fried onions on top? Maybe mix some in. We made them from scratch. I'll walk you through how to do this. Very, very simple. And it doesn't even, look, they don't have to be beautiful. They just have to be nice and crispy. So let's take all this, put it together with our fresh green beans, and make some gorgeous sides. Come on. So now, to make both of these, and you really don't have to make both at the same time. It really doesn't matter. I just thought it would be fun to do two because they're both kind of self-sufficient. You don't need to do much to make these, to make them properly. You just kind of, as I say all the time, just let nature take its course. Let the food do its thing. So where I want to start, since we're going to do them together, I've got a 12-inch cast iron skillet. Doesn't have to be cast iron to do your green bean casserole. It's nice if you have one. You want a nice big one. You definitely want whatever skillet, whatever pan you're going to cook it in, it needs to be oven ready, oven safe. You need to be able to put it in the oven halfway through the process. So I'm using the cast iron skillet because it just, you can't beat that. Letting it get nice and hot. At the same time, I've got a smaller pot here and it's got just 1 cup of water in it, and that's all. I'm adding to that cup of water a lot of sugar. 1 cup of sugar. And isn't that cute? 1/4 cup of orange juice, just for fun. I'm going to let this start to boil. I've got 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, and 1/4 cup of orange juice, and I'm going to let that get started before I add our fresh cranberries. While that's going, stay with me. Back over here to our cast iron skillet, where I'm going to put 2.5 tablespoons of butter, medium heat. You hear that? That's the cool part of cast iron. The sizzling is intense and it comes fast. But I've got 2.5 tablespoons of butter. How often do you see me cook with butter? But with something like this casserole, butter's the best. Letting that start to melt and get hot, and I'm going to add, I took a cup of just buttonhead mushrooms and chopped them up. Nothing fancy about it. Cut the stems off, chopped them up into pieces, and I'm dropping that in with the butter, and I'm going to let that start cook. Did you see that? That little guy fell. That's okay. We don't need you anyway. I'm going to let this start to cook in the butter. And while the mushrooms are cooking, we got some time. While those cook, we'll come over here, give our water a stir because this will not take long to boil. See, it's already starting to bubble. So what I'm going to do, I got a package. These are fresh cranberries. One package is 12 ounces, 12, 14 ounces. of fresh cranberries. You can get fresh, you can get frozen, but you want whole cranberries. All I did was rinse them off, put them in a bowl, and I'm dumping this in our water. Our water, orange juice, sugar mixture. I'm going to let this come up to a boil, and then quite frankly, that's it. I'm not touching that again for a while. But that's all. Let those go. Medium heat. Leave them alone. Forget about them. See how easy that is? These mushrooms, you're going to see a lot of moisture. A lot of liquid getting into your pan other than the butter. That's natural. That's what's coming from the mushrooms. The mushrooms are releasing that moisture, and that's a good thing. That's how I know they're cooking. We're going to cook off all that moisture. And while that's going, let's add a little salt. A couple small pinches, nothing big. Stir it. And now here's what's next. As these start to really cook down and you see the color start to lighten, kind of a light brownish color, there's a lot of liquid in here, a lot of water. I'm going to let that go for another moment or so, then we're going to add a couple more things. But here, take a look, take a look. So our mushrooms, see all that liquid? That's a good thing. We want that. I just added a pinch of ground black pepper to go in there as well. I'm letting those cook for a while. And the next thing we're going to do, in another moment or two, I'm just letting these get good and soft. We are going to add 2 cloves of fresh garlic, all chopped up, and 2 heaping tablespoons of flour. And the flour is what's going to soak up all that liquid. Isn't that pretty? You come over here, how gorgeous are those? And listen. Did you hear the popping? We are going to let those cranberries boil in that sugar water until they all start to burst. Great stuff. I'm going to stir these from time to time, but I really want all these cranberries to pop open. As they burst open, I know it's getting nice and soft. They're getting mushy. As that sugar and water and orange juice boil more, they'll reduce down and get thicker. So that can take care of itself. Now with these mushrooms, now that we've got this slightly browning color, we've got all this liquid, we're going to add, like I said, we'll add our garlic. 2 cloves, fresh garlic, nice and chopped up. And let's stir in 2 big tablespoons of flour. Now, like I said, the flour is, there it goes. See, it's going to soak up all this liquid that's in here. So we'll get a paste. A little bit. We've got these mushrooms and garlic coated in flour. We've now soaked up all of this liquid. So the pan is dried out. Haha, fantastic. Sounds crazy, right? But that's so we can add our next piece. We're going to add 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. Keep our heat at medium. That sizzled when it hit. Did you hear that? Ooh, wow, that is a fantastic smell. Pour some chicken stock in a piping hot cast iron skillet. That's a fantastic smell that hits you right in the face. See, this is thick, which is exactly what we want, and the thickness is coming from the flour. This is how we make our sauce, if you will, for our casserole. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. So now we're on a medium low. And I'm going to add the next piece. 1 1/4 cup of light cream. I've said this in previous videos and I will say it again. I'm not using heavy cream. Some recipes call for heavy cream. I don't like heavy cream. I just don't like the flavor, but that is just me. I think it has a flavor that I don't particularly enjoy. I like light cream because the flavor is nowhere near as intense. So I poured in 1 1/4 cup of light cream, and I'm going to let that go for a moment. And you'll see what's going to happen here in our next few moments. Give our cranberries a stir. Oh yeah, they are popping open. The consistency in here is changing dramatically, and it is fantastic. Let's lower this heat to a medium low now that we've got a solid boil going. Let's let that sit for a minute. How cool is that? Is that not amazing? Those are boiling beautifully. Now look at this. Now this is perfect on a medium-low heat. We've got that slight boil going. You can hear it. See how it's starting to thicken up? That is exactly the consistency you're looking for. We're going to add our final 2 pieces. Put that in the oven. Oh, those cranberries are sure pretty. I know I keep coming back to this. I say you can leave it alone and let it do its thing, which you can, but I just love the way it looks. I love holiday food. Now, turning the heat off on this mushroom and cream mixture here. And here's what we're going to do next. We are going to take 1 pound of fresh blanched green beans. In case you're wondering what that means, I took fresh green beans and cleaned them, trimmed them, broke them in half. Didn't really chop them up or anything, just broke them up. And I blanched them. I put them in boiling water for about 6 minutes, just to let them begin the cooking process. And that's it. I took a big pot, filled it with water, a tablespoon of salt, brought it to a boil, dropped the green beans in, put the timer on for 5 minutes, called it a day. Took them out and drained it and let them sit until we got to this point. So now, add the green beans, and then those fried onions I told you about, which we'll walk through what to do with how to make these. I'm just going to add some, not all. But this is 1 large onion that I went ahead and cut up and cooked. I'm going to add some of them in and some of the little scrapings of the breading. Save the rest. And I'm going to mix that in. And now this is all going to go in the oven together. Got the oven preheated to 400 degrees. Is it 400? Yep, put it at 400. Mix that up. And it's time to go. That's why it's important to have a pan you can put in the oven so you can leave it all together. That's in, and we can forget about that for the next 20 minutes. So, while that's cooking, and we'll even set a timer. We'll say, 20 minutes. Now that we're starting to get a nice jelly-like consistency out of these cranberries, I am going to do 2 things. I'm going to take 1/3 of a cup of blueberries and drop them in. and let those go for a few more minutes. Keep it on low. It's a low boil. Let those blueberries now start to pop open a little bit and add a little soft sweetness. Blueberries have a natural sweetness to them, but it's very soft. And so for the next few minutes, we've accomplished some great stuff. This is fantastic. So we are winding down to the last few minutes before our cranberry sauce is done. And we've got a good 10, 12 minutes. How long? A little over 12 minutes for the green bean casserole. So here's what I would like to do now. As these cranberries finish up, I'm going to show you what this is going to look like and what your final steps should be. Turn the heat off and watch and see what this is going to look like. Now remember that big bowl of cranberries. And what we've got now, watch this. You really want to be careful, especially if you're wearing white. How fantastic does that look? You saw that no splatter, right? It took years to get that right. So we've got our bowl of cranberry sauce. Whew. So, two things we are going to do to our cranberry sauce. Number one, this is a heaping tablespoon of brown sugar that I'm going to drop in here and let it slowly melt and incorporate it in with everything else. And I know, more sugar? There's already a cup of sugar in here with blueberries, with some orange juice. Why more sugar? Well, I'll tell you, have you ever had cranberries by themselves? They are the least sweet thing on the planet. And even with all that sugar, another tablespoon of brown sugar is not going to overpower. It's not going to make it too sweet. What it is going to do is add a nice little caramelized finish. That's it. And the only other thing I want to do, and I'll do it now, and then we would also do it when you serve. Just for color. That's it. Just for color. I'm going to take some orange and give some fresh orange zest on the top, just to have a nice pop. And quite frankly, I'm doing that right now so that we can all see the final product. But what you would do, and this is your last official step with cranberry sauce like this you 100% need to make at least 24 hours in advance. Got to do it. And here's why. Because I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the fridge, uncovered, and let it cool down from the boiling that it's been doing. Once I know that it's really nice and cool, a couple hours, I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap and keep it in the fridge overnight till tomorrow. As it gets cooler, it will start to thicken. And by tomorrow evening, 24 hours from now, nice, thick, fresh cranberry sauce, which is exactly what we're after. That is fantastic stuff. Has such a great flavor, such a fantastic smell. Now, I'm not going to lie, oh wow, that's really good. No tart at all. Really, really good. Well, frankly, I grew up on jellied cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving, fresh out of the can. So for me, that's nothing beats that. But second best would be this. And I've grown to love it as I've gotten older. Really, really good. We're going to let that go in the fridge, keep it nice and cool, and check on our green beans. So for the remainder of time that these are in the oven, so about the next 6-7 minutes, what I want to do real quick is pull them out. Wow, look how good that looks. We're going to give it a quick stir, kind of move things around. Man, these are beautiful and they smell fantastic. Going to move everything towards the middle. Our final step here is I am going to put the remaining fried onions that we had on top. Put that back in the oven for the rest of the time so the top gets nice and hot. And it's done. As I promised, I want to go over those onions. I took a large yellow onion and just sliced it up into pieces. And I took 1 egg and mixed it with about 3/4 cup of milk. Put that in a bowl. In a separate bowl, put some flour. And in a separate bowl, I put 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs with a heaping tablespoon of paprika, salt and pepper. And keep in mind, all of this is going to be in the description down below, so you can check it out later or at your leisure, but I'll have all the ingredients laid out for you. So go down there next to that subscribe button, click the subscribe button, read the description, and you'll see all the ingredients. But I mixed up the breadcrumbs with the paprika and the salt and pepper, and I took the onion after I cut it up, and I tossed it in the flour, then dumped the pieces of onion, the floured onion, in the egg wash, the egg and milk, and mixed it up. And then I put them in the breadcrumbs and kind of loosely tossed it all together. If you really take a look, you'll see that they're not all perfectly coated. It's not beautiful. I just tossed it all together to get breadcrumbs all over everything. And then I dumped all of that, including the excess breadcrumbs, onto a baking sheet. And I put those in the oven for 20 minutes at 450. Yeah, 450. And let them go for like 20 minutes. And every once in a while I'd open it up and shake them around and put them back. And then after about 20 or so minutes, took them out. They were nice and brown. Broke them up and let them sit until I needed them for the casserole. And that's all. This is all easy stuff. And the point of all this, the one thing I wanted to say before I take this out of the oven, and I've got 4 more minutes. This year, with all the craziness that is 2020, I'm hoping that there's still a lot of celebrating going on and people may be getting together in small groups for a holiday such as Thanksgiving, or if you're just with your family, and I'm trying to do things outside of what is becoming the norm, which is quick and easy, and bring it back to some traditional holiday feel and classic, and make it everything from scratch. While, yeah, it seems like a lot, and I apologize if I've been doing a lot of moving around, but there's not much to it. It's really, really easy. And what I hope to get out of this year is that this will be the year that everybody remembers. Wow, do you remember how amazing the meal was at Thanksgiving last year, or 10 years ago, or in 2020 when all the craziness was going on? That's what I'm hoping to get out of this. That's why I want to make these dishes for you from scratch. And if maybe you've been going out for the past few years and you aren't able to this year, hopefully this will help you. If it does, let me know, and I'd be crazy excited to know that I was able to help. But that's why we're doing what we're doing. And next week, before we get to Thanksgiving, we'll do a video and we'll go through all the timing and how to time and prepare and prep everything so you can get all your food cooked in one kitchen using one oven, or 2 if you're lucky, and have it all out together and at the same time so everyone can enjoy. Huh? Fantastic. Well, let's see how this stuff looks. Oh, I cannot wait to see how these came out. The final product. Ooh, that's hot. Whee! Wow. Do you hear that sizzling? Oh, those are gorgeous. Turn this off. How great did that come out? How beautiful is that? Well, I got to tell you, I know it's not Thanksgiving, but I am definitely, ooh, that's hot, definitely, I am so incorporating that into a meal today. Oh, those are fantastic. Folks, I hope this wasn't too much and a lot of running around for you, but between the cranberry and this green bean casserole right here, it's going to make for an amazing meal. I cannot wait for the holidays to do this for my family when everyone's together. But please, give that a try. There's all kinds of recipes out there if you want to make things like this from scratch. They're super easy. This one, mine in particular, is a compilation of ones I've found online, stuff I've done over the years. That cranberry sauce is a mix of recipes I know from friends of mine who are chefs, mixed with my grandmother's recipe from when, oh geez, I don't even know when. But it's fun to mix and match and create and change and add for your own flavors. But do it, it's fun, give it a shot. Everything is in the description, so you have all the ingredients you need step by step. I'd love to hear how it goes. Please give the video a thumbs up and share it with everyone you know. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you can see what's coming up next. And I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.